What's up, everybody? Hello, and welcome back to Insurance Isn't Boring, episode 34, coming to you live on this wonderful Friday. I am joined, as always, by my good friend and running buddy, Mr. Elijah Corujo. Um, and we've had some pretty high octane guests the last couple of weeks, so we got a lot of stuff that we want to get into. But I mean, before we do that, man, how's the week? How's the month treating you? Back from
We got to
conference.
always give the people some street cred, reason to listen to us. We're out in the trenches doing the thing. We're not just talking about it. For the week, a little bit of a slower week. I'm at 4 sales for 7,300 APV, 4 families protected, all 4 policies issued, which is awesome. So I think that I haven't even done the math, but I want to say it's between like $3,000 and $4,000 in advances. So not bad. On the month, I'm at 17 sales for 20,000, just shy of 21,000 on the month so far. So not too shabby, man. I'm not mad at it.
No, it'd be hard to be mad at
What
that.
about you, big dog? You're killing me right now, man. I mean, you're crushing it this month, dude.
I've had a good month. A couple of just larger apps. I'm at 14 apps, so fewer apps written, but I'm at 34,000 in business as of today.
Nice.
I've
Nice.
never crossed 40 grand in a month before, so we still got a week and some change.
It'd be hard to miss that with where you're at, dude. And just to brag on you a little bit, bro, #1 agency owner on personal production last week, #2 producer in the whole company last week with 23 or 24,000 on the week, bro?
I want to say it was 22. You're giving me a little too much credit.
Hey, over 20 grand in a week is no small thing. Very few people do that ever. And so that's pretty stellar what's possible.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. That was a cool road mark to hit.
Hell yeah. Awesome,
so
man. Why don't we unpack like some of the guests that we've had recently? We had Lee Jedlicka, Janelle Jamont, Ryan Miller, freaking powerhouses.
And my favorite thing about having all three of them back to back to back was how different their backgrounds and their stories were. Like Lee said he was studying English while he was studying for his insurance exam, right? And then we had Janelle, and she came from a very, corporate W-2 background. And then Ryan was also in the corporate world, but more so like he was, doing franchises and stuff. So 3 wildly different backgrounds, 3 wildly successful individuals, and they all do things a little bit differently, right? He's very much, hey, I'm going to do 10 grand a week, come hell or high water on mortgage protection. Nell is an FIF, advanced markets expert, doing, she had a $90,000 day. That's insane. And then Ryan has a massive organization that's doing, tens of $1,000,000 a year. I mean, people ask, I'm sure you've gotten this question, like, who's been your favorite person? It's like, all of them. Like, you can't, it's so different. It's like saying, pizza's better than ice cream. Like, I like them both. But I guess, did you have any big takeaways? Anything that you're looking to implement? Anything you really wanted to hammer home to the audience?
I'm trying to implement all of it, man. I'm trying to replicate Lee's just high caliber production week after week after week, which is appealing because, I mean, if you're an insurance agent and you sell $10,000 in a week at a normal contract rate, assuming that all of that business or most of that business issues, on the low end, you're making $5,000 to $6,000 in advances per week at a starting commission rate, just to be clear. Once you hit 100, 105, or 110% commission rate, you issue 10 grand, you make 10 grand. The math is easy. And like, that's really appealing. And I've gone through seasons where I've done $10,000 in a week for a few weeks on end. I think my record's 9 weeks in a row, but he did it for like 4 years. And so that's super impressive. Nell, my big takeaway from her is she's doing the life insurance and the mortgage protection, which is kind of like our bread and butter. But if you want to get into like getting a stake, that's what she's doing with the advanced market stuff. Like, she wrote a $1.2 million annuity which is probably going to pay her north of $70,000 in commission on one deal. And that came from a mortgage protection lead. And the beautiful thing is, like, what I wanted people to remember, I asked her, I was like, how much did your insurance license cost? I didn't know how cheap it was in Florida. It was like 45 bucks. And with that license and the training, because she's trained on this, like, there's no expectation that a brand new agent is going to know how to write a 7-figure policy, but her team leverages her. So, like, if you uncover the deal, she'll close it, and there's massive upside commission potential on those deals. And then with Ryan, he's all about multiplication, bro. Like, he's not only recruiting people, he's teaching his people to recruit people. And he didn't recruit 1,000 people. He probably recruited, actually, I don't know how many he recruited, but it wasn't 1,000. But he got to 1,000 because of the example he set, and he helped people latch on to the vision of what was possible if you really plant your flag here. And now his organization does like $3 to $5 million per month in sales. And so you can't do that by yourself. No matter how good you are, you're not going to sell $1 million a month. I mean, if you're the best producer in the company, you might sell $1 million in a year. And the multiplication aspect was something that I took away, and his ability to motivate and storytell. And I mean, he's just, I hope this doesn't sound bad, but like, he's just a regular dude. He even said on the podcast, like, he sucked at personal production, but he's a 7-figure earner doing the same job that we're doing, just at a higher level, and he's focused on different things. So they were
Yeah.
all freaking incredible guests, dude. Incredible. I don't have a favorite. That's for sure.
Yeah, me either. And I kind of to hammer home what you're saying about Ryan there, like I think for anybody new, all three of them were inspiring, absolutely. But for anyone new who's like, man, like this sales thing just doesn't like I don't feel like I'm ever gonna get to the point where I'm, a Jeremy Minor or whatever. You don't have to be him. Like you don't have to be doing what Lee and both Lee and Janelle have teams. They're just not quite as large as Ryan's. But you don't have to be as good of a producer as they are to still make a phenomenal income. Now, what Ryan's doing took more time and legwork, and he had to, obviously spend a lot of time growing as an individual and a leader. But self-admittedly, he's like, I wasn't the best sales guy. And look what I mean. His bonuses are in close to 6 figures each month. And that's a bonus. That's outside of what he's making it as a team. And so I just thought it was phenomenal perspective. And we talk about the freedom that this industry can give you. It's like, hey, if you are that guy who just, man, I love closing deals. I love helping families. I don't want to deal with leading other people or recruiting or any of that. Great. There's a path for you. If you're more on the other side of, I don't love the sales calls, like, I don't know how you couldn't. Like, once you figure it out, it's pretty fun helping families.
It is.
Um,
Yeah,
but if some of that stuff you don't enjoy as much, fantastic. Ryan obviously wears his heart on his sleeve, big relationship guy. Like, lean more into that. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you can do that. Like, there's no guardrails. Like, go do what you want to do. You know what I mean?
hmm One thing about Ryan too that I don't want to gloss over is he's just been in the game longer, and uh, like, I think he's been doing this for like 9 years. And if
Yeah.
you were told that, if you were hired at a job and you were told, hey, stick this out, commit to getting better, commit to growing, and commit to sharing the vision and the opportunity with other people, in 5 to 10 years, you could be making over $1 million a year. Would you stick it out? Absolutely. But um, we're all doing the same job, just we're at different stages in the game, and what people are focused on is really different. Like, I think the people who win the most here are the people who, it comes back to how simple this business is, man. They're just focused on two boxes: recruiting a certain number of people every month and seeing a certain number of families every month. And you can get distracted by all the shiny object syndromes that are out there and go down the rabbit trail of different product concepts or whatever, but the people who win the most, they're focused on those two things. And Lee was focused on those two things and still is. Same thing with Janelle, and so is Ryan. I think where he's at now, he's only focused on that first box of hiring people because at this point, his time is so valuable that he would be losing money to get out there and go buy leads and dial and book appointments and help families with insurance. He still does. Like he was on the leaderboards last week, put up I think 5 or 6 grand, but he's way more focused on the hiring people and getting them going. And that's really what changes when you get to that level. But it's pretty awesome, man. I think one thing I want to point out too is like you can go people who are going to win, they're going to win wherever they're at. If they're in a solar sales job or just a W-2 position, the commonality, bro, is their mindset and their commitment to getting better every day and their commitment to excellence, really. They're not about being average or mediocre. And that's one of the things I love about this company is people who are just about doing the bare minimum and getting by, they kind of get weeded out. They really don't fit in with the culture, and it ends up being more of like a hobby for those people. And hobbies cost you money. Businesses make you money. And so the people who are focused on winning and building a business, those are the people who really crush it.
Absolutely. And speaking of crushing it, um, we're about to enter into Q4. And
Yeah.
so, you know, I it's funny, I was interviewing someone yesterday and I was telling you before this, she was like, yeah, I just I feel like, she's in the middle of studying for her license right now. She's like, "I feel like I should just really focus on, my health right now because, open enrollment is right around the corner, and I just have this feeling that like, around the holidays, the end of the year, like people are going to be wanting to save their money for Christmas presents and stuff like that. And hey, I'll wait until next year to do the insurance." And I pushed back a little bit. I was like, anyone who tells you open enrollment's a bad time to be doing anything on the health side is lying to you. But on the life side of things, like similar to a lot of retail businesses, Q4 is Symmetry's best year, or sorry, best quarter, like every year. And a lot of times, December is actually a lot of producers' best months, which I didn't expect. I told her it was fair to feel that way because I kind of had a similar mindset. Um, do you want to get into like some reasons that you think that is, and like strategies that you've employed to finish the year strong and kind of not let your foot off the gas as we begin to get into the time of rolling into 2026?
Yeah, man. Q4 is the it's the time of year where the most insurance is sold for a variety. I don't know the exact reason, but it could be because people are around their families more. They're thinking about their loved ones and they want to make sure they're protected. They're past the busyness of summer and back to school season. They've got more time off with Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. They're already spending a bunch of money. What's another $100 on a policy to make sure my family's protected? Let's go ahead and hit the done button on that. I think it's also, dude, it's the time of the year where a majority of people, like you said, let their foot off the gas. They start taking it easy. They start slowing down. The days are shorter. There's less, it gets darker sooner. So they're done with work sooner. And this is what Ed Milet calls separation season. This is where the winners are separated from the wannabes, dude. And it kind of starts in August. I don't know what it is about August, but people start slowing down. They're taking time off, they're going on summer vacation, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to paint that in a bad light, but if you're trying to get ahead, October, November, December, that is the time to get ahead. If you're trying to hit a promotion, that's the time to do it. And without fail, bro, every single year I sell more insurance and make more money in the last 3 months of the year than any other quarter of the year. And what I would suggest, like a couple tips, like recognize that if you want to get what you've never gotten before, you got to do something you've never done. Maybe that means instead of running 15 appointments in a week, you run 18 to 20. If you've never spent more than $500 a week on leads, maybe you bump that up to 800 or $1,000 and really stretch yourself. If you've never worked past 6 o'clock, maybe it means you work till 7 or 8. Or if you've never run appointments on a Saturday, maybe you pick up a couple appointments on the weekend. Like little things. And it's not just about work. It's also the time of year the most people fall off their gym regimen or their diet regimen. And I would look at it as a whole for what Ed talks about being separation season. Like this is the time of year to finish strong, and also the work you do for the next 90 days establishes the momentum that you're going to already have come January. Like a lot of people start their new year on January 1st, and you could do that. But wouldn't you rather come into January with the smoke of battle on you, having written 150 grand in 3 months or something, and you've gotten some bonuses and you've made a bunch of money and you're already moving, you already have the habits established. And this is the time of year where a lot of people kind of get more relaxed. And if you've had the best year you've had, go on a vacation, bro. Take some time off. Like that's cool. But if you want to be excellent, like this is the time of year where you can really make that happen with a couple small changes and doing a little bit more. And yeah, I mean, it works for me every single year, and the company numbers are always the highest in the last 3 months of the year. So
Yeah,
what's your
yeah,
what's
and
your goal, man? What are you going to do in the next 3 months, homie? What's your
you put me on the
goal? Put
spot.
it out there for
I
the
I
people
gotta think
to hear,
about,
man.
I gotta think about something lofty. There's a couple of, we're in an interesting time frame with trips. Like, I want to go on a carrier trip. I will go on a carrier trip. It's just figuring out which one, because you do want to focus your business there. Like I made the mistake
Yeah.
really the first 6 months of this year of kind of spreading my business out a little bit too thin. I wanted to go on a lot of trips, and that's great. But not everything that you submit is going to get approved. You're going to probably have a chargeback here and there. My strategy now is like go deep on one carrier, know them inside and out, and then like, hey, you hit that, great, go look at another one. Um,
Yeah.
it's a good question. I think the thing I was thinking about is like looking at my New Year's resolutions or my goals for 2025, and I think we talked about it on one of the episodes way back of like, I think it's something like 80% of people by the third week of January like have all those resolutions are out the window. Um, and to your point about coming into to 2026, kicking the doors off, right? Like you can start that right now, right? You don't have to wait until it's January to be like, well, I didn't quite hit what I wanted to. Like I'm gonna relax and figure it out again. Then like you're doing the exact same thing you did before, right? And so for me, it's gonna be, probably write 40 by the end of this month. 50 a month on my own pen for the next 3 months. So kind of what you just said,
150K, bro.
100, that would be 150 in 3 months is more than doable. To your point, people are back from vacations, their kids are in school, they're already thinking about spending money. And I think one of the most important aspects of it is like, what we're doing is talking about protecting their family. And so if, little Timmy is back from he's on Thanksgiving break or Christmas break, whatever, and you're talking about, what would life look like for him? The client is looking at him like, man, I really love him, and I don't want his life to be more difficult. And so I think that goes into why it's a great time to be helping families as well. Um, and I've
Shout
also
out little Timmy.
shout out little Timmy. You know, I've been talking about how recruiting and building a team is important. Um, I have been also producing pretty heavily. And so for me, I've got to figure out what the right balance of the time split on that looks like. I know we make it simple, 15 interviews, 15 appointments. But when it comes down to how you're actually divvying up your time each week, I have not done a very good job of having enough dedicated focus on, hey, getting new people in the door and getting them up to speed. I've done, I think, a decent job of getting the people I have on my team up to speed, and I hit AO, but that's just the beginning, right? I'm a small fish in a big pond. Um, And so those are two kind of areas that I want to be more mindful as we move into Q4.
Yeah.
How about you, brother?
I want to get, I want to get 10 people rocking and rolling over the next 3 months. I came into 25 by myself, and I came into 2024 by myself. I don't want to come into 2026 by myself. And I've got a couple people right now. They're doing a couple things, nothing crazy. Most of them are part time. Actually, they're all part time, and that's great. You can do a lot part time. But I loved, and this goes back to what Ryan was talking about. One of the things that he really emphasized is when you get big enough, you have to be selective with who you give your time to, and you have to focus and invest in the people who have momentum and they're doing stuff. I mean, you can't steer a parked car as a mentor. As much as the passenger would love for you to steer a parked car, he ain't going nowhere. And so I want to have enough people to where I could be selective about who I talk to, because if you're just starting building and you have two or three people and none of them are doing anything, the temptation is, okay, I'm going to talk to all these people as much as possible and I'm going to spend hours with them to try to get them going. But that's a mistake because you can't get anybody to do anything. You set the example, and the people who want it are already going to have what Noah calls motion. And giving those people your time is way more valuable. And I want to come into 2026 with, I would say, a minimum of 10 people who are writing apps and getting after it, because that's where the multiplication can start to take place. You can't multiply until you have a couple people to duplicate, and they're also recruiting. So I would love. I'm going to shoot for 150,000 more by the end of the year. I'm at 360. Where am I at for the year? I'm at 365,000 on the year, and I would love to be over 450, which would be stellar. And so
Put
50K
you
a
over
month,
500,
that'll
brother.
put me well over it. Yeah, or pretty close to it, I think. Um, it's already a
Yeah,
record year.
yeah,
I've
that
already
puts you over
sold more
500.
this year. Yeah, dude. Last year I sold 362 for the year in 2024. So we're already past that and we got 3 months left in the year. So a lot of potential. But that's what I'm focused on, man. And when it comes to separation season too, there's a podcast I would highly recommend. I think it's called Separation Season. It's an episode Ed Milet did. And he just talks about like looking at what the masses are doing and kind of doing the opposite. What a lot of people do this time of year is compromise on their standards. They're putting stuff on credit cards. They're taking a break from their fitness. They're eating whatever. They're just kind of letting themselves go. And that's fine. But if if you don't want to, I mean, the work we're doing today is what's going to really impact us about 90 days from now. And so recognizing and kind of beginning with the end in mind, do you want to start January 1st behind the eight ball with a bunch of credit card debt, and maybe you've picked up an extra 15 or 20 pounds and you've spent a bunch of money and you don't have anybody around you and you don't have momentum with sales? It all works together. And this is the time of the year to really put your head down and get ahead. So that would be my rally cry to the people, is maybe take a day or a couple hours and get reflective. Look at what you've done this year so far. Take a couple notes on what's working, what's not working. What are you going to change? Because you have time to make those changes and establish some new habits, or maybe reinvigorate habits that you kind of fell off the bandwagon on. And you can accomplish a lot, dude, in 90 days. A lot. Even if this is the first podcast of ours that you've ever listened to and you just got your license, or maybe you're not even licensed, I would not at all entertain the idea of taking a back seat and starting this thing in January. Like, that would be a huge mistake, don't you think?
I mean, that somebody would have to ignored everything we said for the last 25 minutes and tune in, right? It's literally it's the best season to be in the insurance industry. Yeah, that would be the biggest mistake I could think of. And I'm honestly jealous of the people who are going to get to start right when that's kicking off. Like, get in, get some leads, get with your upline, and just get after it. I agree.
Mhm.
This is the season to kick tail and like sprint through the finish line.
It is. And we've got with our group, just to kind of brag on the company and also like our team, our group had a contest that ran, I think, the first 6 months of the year. And the qualifiers, I think you had to do, what was it, 75,000 issue paid, something like that. Really achievable, like super duper achievable. And the qualifiers, we're all going to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic next month, or not next month, November. And so
Yeah,
it'll be kind of like a little bit of a midway point, about halfway through Q4, go on a little trip. We're going to play some golf. We should record a podcast while we're out there and
we should.
sell some insurance while we're out there too. I think that would be really sick. But I wouldn't start thinking about your goals for next year in January. Like, I would start thinking about what you want to accomplish next year right now, and then you can get started on it right now. And yeah, I mean, there's a
But
lot
to
of
your
trips
point,
to choose
Elijah,
from.
separation season, if everyone you know is January 1st, all right, time to think about, what I'm going to do this year. If everyone's doing that, if you're trying to separate yourself, we need to be doing it early. Uh, like that ties in very well with your podcast recommendation.
Yeah, give in a book I would recommend. Ryan also recommended it. It's The Power of One More, and Ed Milet really talks about that. The whole concept of one more is really what separation season is all about, and going the extra mile, putting in the extra effort. Um, I mean, there's a lot that you can accomplish over 3 months, and yeah, man, I'm excited to see what we accomplish, but I'm more excited to see what some of the new people accomplish. I mean, we're bringing in some new folks who are getting after it, and you said it in a band post the other day. Watching your people win is way more fulfilling, and I totally agree with that. Anybody you want to shout out on your team who's moving and shaking and doing the thing? There's a
I
couple,
there's
but
two
who
people,
you thinking
there's
about, man?
two that come right to mind. One is Dottie Garcia. She shout out Dottie. I think she's on a bachelorette trip this weekend. She came from the corporate world, and she was kind of tired of, hey, anyone who's been in the corporate world, we know how it goes. And she's just come in here and been absolutely relentless. She partnered up with one of her college friends who's also on our team to manage the recruiting. And then Dottie is full-fledged on production. She wrote 2 or 3 apps this week. She's really starting to pick up steam. Um, every day when I come into the workroom, she's one of the first ones there with me. So really fun to start seeing her conversations get more natural. She's getting more comfortable in applications, and she's like, "Oh, this is pretty fun." Um, she's one, and then the other one would be Noah Fryman. So Noah, if you're listening to this, man, shout out. I've got 2 Noahs on my team. Um, Noah, and we love you too, Dondi. But Fryman's a little bit newer, and he's also. I mean, I've been working pretty late the last couple of weeks. Um, he'll be on Zoom with me, watching me finalize an application until 8:30, 9 p.m. at night.
He's
And
always
now
in there, man.
he is getting always, dude. And he got paid on his first policy. I believe it was yesterday. And he was texting me. He's
Nice.
like, dude, this makes me so much hungrier for more. And so it's like I said, man, it's really fun to watch other people start to win and catch that same bug or vision or whatever it is that we have, and start to believe in themselves of like, hey, I can do this and I'm capable of so much more than I thought I was 2, 3 months ago.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. Um, what was I gonna say? That train of thought left. It'll come back when it's no longer relevant. I don't even remember what I was gonna say. But I,
Always
I
happens.
love that. Watching new people win, man, it just gets you going. And I mean, I've been doing this now for 7 years, which is kind of crazy to say. And I didn't forget the struggle that I went through as a new agent, but I'm a little bit desensitized because once you get going and you know how to do this, it for sure becomes easier. And so I can't always relate to the struggle that a new agent's going through. But man, it gets me fired up to watch somebody hit a couple roadblocks, come out on the other side, get a win, and then get the belief in themselves that they can do it over and over and over again. So sick. One thing I did want to point out, I remember what I was going to say now, is Dottie got brought on by a couple who you brought on who found us through the podcast. And
Yeah, they
so
did.
it's cool how that works, man. By the way, like if you're seeing this and you're not an agent in Symmetry, yeah, check us out. If you're looking at getting into the industry, or maybe you're already in the industry at another IMO, you're not getting what you want, the culture's not right, the leads suck, the training sucks, the comp sucks, like you should look into Symmetry, because I really do think, as far as insurance marketing organizations go, I think we got the best thing. Um, and I would happily go toe to toe and debate that with anybody. I really do think that we got the best thing.
Yeah, I'm with you,
So,
brother. No, 100%. No company's ever going to be perfect, but I think Synergies is as close as I've seen to that goal. But yeah, same. I echo that sentiment. You reach out to us. We've had more and more people reaching out of like, hey, this insurance thing, you guys make it sound a little bit less lame than I thought it was, which I guess means that we're doing a good job. And also, if you haven't, the last 3 episodes, go back and, well, now we got 33 others that you can go listen to, but particularly the last three, super cool vantage points. This industry is for anybody and everybody. People always love to make excuses about why, oh, I can't do this, or this person had that advantage, or yada, yada, yada. All three of them have different stories, different hardships they've gone through, and they're on the other side of that for the better. So I really can't edify those three guests enough, and just really, personally, selfishly glad to be connected with them.
same,
I think that's all I've got,
same.
brother. You have anything else for today?
Yeah. I don't. I think anything else that we add is just going to water it down. Get real with yourself, take some time, reflect on the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that you've accomplished, maybe some parts of the year where maybe you missed the mark, or you missed a promotion, or you didn't get what you wanted to. Take some time, get reflective on what worked, what didn't, what are you going to change? And then don't just let it stop there. Implement those changes, and see where you end up on the other side come January 2026, man. A lot of good things are going to happen. We're not going to stop doing this. Tune in next Friday for episode 35. We got a really cool guest lined up for that one.
Hell yeah. All right.
So
See you
yeah,
guys. See you, Elijah.
with peace out.